Good morning, everyone. Today we're bringing you an important update that could impact your next trip to the grocery store, especially if you're a fan of seafood. Food safety is something we often take for granted, but every so often, a story comes along that reminds us just how crucial it is to stay informed about what's on our plates. Walmart has just announced a major recall involving some of its popular Great Value frozen shrimp products. The reason? There's a potential risk of radioactive contamination. This news has understandably caused concern among shoppers and seafood lovers alike, as Great Value is one of the most widely available brands in the country. The Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, detected a radioactive substance during routine testing of a seafood shipment that was headed for the United States. Fortunately, that particular shipment was intercepted and stopped before it could reach store shelves or end up in anyone's kitchen. This quick action by federal authorities prevented potentially contaminated shrimp from entering the food supply. However, the story doesn't end there. There are still concerns about other products from the same overseas supplier that may have already made their way into stores and homes across the country. This uncertainty has prompted a broader investigation and a cautious approach from both Walmart and federal regulators. As a precautionary measure, Walmart is now working closely with federal agencies to remove certain batches of its Great Value frozen shrimp from store shelves. Employees are actively pulling affected products, and recall notices are being posted in stores to alert customers. This is all part of a coordinated effort to ensure that potentially unsafe food is taken out of circulation as quickly as possible. The recall specifically targets select frozen shrimp products sold in several states across the U.S. If you've recently purchased Great Value shrimp, it's important to check the packaging for recall information and see if your product is affected. The list of impacted states and product codes is available on Walmart's website and through official government channels. Recalls like this are a vital part of our food safety system. They're designed to catch problems before they can cause harm and to protect consumers from potential health risks. While it can be alarming to hear about radioactive contamination, it's important to remember that these actions are taken out of an abundance of caution. The most important thing to remember is that this recall is active right now and should be taken seriously. If you have any of the affected products, do not consume them. Instead, follow the instructions provided by Walmart and the FDA for returning or disposing of the shrimp safely. In the next segment, we'll take a closer look at the radioactive substance that triggered this recall, how it was detected, and what it means for food safety moving forward. Stay tuned as we break down the science behind this urgent recall and what you need to know to keep your family safe. The FDA identified the contaminant as cesium-137, a radioactive isotope created by nuclear fission. It's not naturally found in the environment but is a byproduct of nuclear reactors and weapons. Major nuclear accidents like Chernobyl and Fukushima released cesium-137 into the environment, where it can persist for decades. It behaves like potassium, allowing it to be absorbed by plants and animals, and eventually humans, through the food chain. Regulatory agencies monitor its levels in food, especially seafood, due to this bioaccumulation risk. The FDA has strict safety limits for radioactive material in food. The detection of cesium-137 above normal background levels in shrimp triggered this recall. The FDA routinely screens imported foods for safety. During one such check, a shipment of frozen shrimp from Indonesia tested positive for cesium-137. That contaminated batch was stopped at the border and never reached U.S. stores. However, the discovery raised concerns about other batches from the same supplier that had already been distributed. Out of caution, Walmart and the FDA decided to recall a broader range of products. The FDA is now investigating the supplier and has denied entry to several other shipments as a precaution. While no other batches have tested positive so far, the recall remains in place to protect consumers. This uncertainty is why the recall was deemed necessary. If the contaminated shrimp never reached stores, why recall at all? The answer is precaution. Even if the affected products were intercepted before hitting the shelves, the risk doesn't end there. Food supply chains are complex, and a single contaminated batch can signal a larger issue. Sometimes contamination is discovered after distribution has already begun, making it difficult to guarantee that no affected products slipped through. That's why companies and regulators act quickly, even if it means recalling products that might actually be safe. When one batch is contaminated, others from the same supplier could be at risk. Processing facilities often handle large volumes of seafood, and cross-contamination can happen at any stage, from harvesting to packaging. If equipment or storage areas are exposed, it's possible for multiple shipments to be affected, even if only one tests positive. Regulators can't test every package, so they recall all potentially affected products. Testing is done on samples, not every single item, so there's always a chance that some contaminated products could go undetected. By recalling everything from the same lot or supplier, authorities minimize the risk to consumers. The distribution network for food is vast, with products traveling across states and even countries. Once a potential issue is identified, it's nearly impossible to trace every single package, so a broad recall is the safest approach. Walmart's recall shows responsibility, removing products to protect customers, even without confirmed contamination in every batch. This proactive step helps prevent any chance of exposure and demonstrates a commitment to customer safety. This action, in coordination with the FDA, helps maintain public trust in the food supply. When companies and regulators work together transparently, it reassures the public that their health is the top priority. The goal is to eliminate any doubt and ensure consumer safety. By acting decisively, companies can restore confidence and show that they take food safety seriously. Testing isn't perfect, so the safest move is to remove all possibly affected products. It's a costly decision, but it's the only way to guarantee that no one is put at risk. This allows for a thorough investigation without risking public health. Investigators can then trace the source, identify what went wrong, and put measures in place to prevent future incidents. When it comes to radioactivity in food, caution is always the best policy. Even a small risk is too great when public health is on the line. That's why this recall is so important. It's not just about one shipment. It's about protecting everyone who trusts the food on their table. Here's what Walmart shoppers need to know. A recent recall has sent ripples of concern through communities across the country, especially for those who regularly shop for frozen seafood at Walmart. If you or your family enjoy great value frozen shrimp, it's important to pay close attention to this update. Food recalls can happen for a variety of reasons, but what matters most is knowing if you're affected and what steps to take next. The recall targets 13 states: Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Texas, and West Virginia. These states have been identified as the primary locations where the affected shrimp products were distributed and sold. If you live in or near any of these areas, it's especially important to check your recent grocery purchases. If you live in one of these states and have purchased great value frozen shrimp, this recall applies to you. Even if you bought your shrimp a few weeks ago, it's worth double-checking your freezer. Many people stock up on frozen foods, so you might still have the affected product at home without realizing it. Only 3 specific batches of frozen breaded shrimp are affected. These batches were distributed under the Great Value brand, which is Walmart's popular in-house label. The recall does not impact all shrimp products, but only those from certain production runs that may have been exposed to potential contamination. Check your freezer for Great Value breaded shrimp and look for the product codes and best by dates on the packaging. These details are usually printed near the barcode or on the side of the box. If you find a match, do not consume the product. Instead, set it aside and follow the recall instructions for a refund or safe disposal. The exact codes are available on the FDA and Walmart websites. Both sites provide up-to-date information, including which product numbers and best-by dates are included in the recall. You can also call Walmart customer service or visit your local store for assistance if you're unsure about your product. Don't assume your product is safe just because it looks fine. Contamination is invisible. Harmful bacteria or other contaminants can't be seen, smelled, or tasted, so it's crucial to rely on the official recall information rather than visual inspection alone. If you're not in one of the 13 states, your products aren't part of this recall. However, it's always a good idea to stay informed about food safety issues, as recalls can sometimes expand or change as new information becomes available. Still, it's a good reminder to stay aware of food safety alerts. Signing up for recall notifications from the FDA or your local grocery store can help you act quickly if a product you've purchased is ever recalled in the future. For those in affected states, check your freezers immediately. The sooner you identify a recalled product, the sooner you can remove it from your home and prevent any risk to your family's health. Identifying recalled products is the first step to protecting your family. Take a few minutes to review your frozen foods, especially if you shop at Walmart or have recently purchased Great Value Shrimp. It's a simple action that can make a big difference. Let's talk about what Walmart is doing next to address this recall and keep customers safe. Walmart responded quickly to the FDA's alert. They issued a register block to prevent recalled shrimp from being sold. Employees in affected states are removing all recalled shrimp from store freezers. If you already bought the product, do not eat it. Return it for a full refund. No receipt needed. Walmart is also investigating the supply chain with the Indonesian supplier to prevent future incidents. These steps are designed to protect customers and strengthen food safety. The company's commitment to finding the root cause is as important as the recall itself. Now let's discuss the health risks. The word radioactive is alarming, but health officials say the detected cesium-137 levels weren't high enough to cause immediate illness. The main risk comes from long-term exposure, not a single serving. Cesium-137 mimics potassium and can accumulate in the body, emitting radiation that may damage cells and increase cancer risk over time. The FDA sets strict limits to keep exposure as low as possible. The body does eliminate cesium-137 naturally, but repeated exposure is dangerous. The recall is designed to prevent chronic exposure and protect public health. Let's look at the bigger picture of food safety. This recall highlights the complexity of our global food system. Foods travel thousands of miles, increasing the risk of contamination at any point. Cesium-137's presence in shrimp is a reminder of the lasting impact of nuclear events and the need for vigilant monitoring. The FDA's import checks act as a firewall, catching problems before they reach consumers. The system worked, the contaminated shipment was stopped, and the recall was issued. This partnership between regulators and companies protects public health. For consumers, it's a reminder to stay informed and check for recalls. Transparency and swift action are key to a safe food supply. Here's what you should do now. Check your freezer for great value frozen shrimp, especially breaded varieties. Compare product codes and dates with the official recall list on the FDA or Walmart websites. If your product matches, don't eat it. Return it to Walmart for a full refund or dispose of it safely. If you've already eaten some, don't panic. The risk from a single exposure is very low. Contact your healthcare provider if you have ongoing concerns. Stay updated through official sources like the FDA's website. By following these steps, you're protecting your family's health. This recall is serious, but manageable with the right information. We'll keep you updated as new developments arise.